Go. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Leaders Live, and I'm Andrew Jenkins, and this is a short countdown timer to help the various feeds catch up with themselves. Darlington, your noise is a bit weird. I'm just going to turn you on mute for a minute. So the various feeds to catch up with themselves, and we can't wait for today's groovy show, folks. And in this week's Leaders Live, we'll be hanging out with my mate, Andrew Wilmot, co-chair Workplace Wellbeing Association. He's a CTO, he's a non-executive director and consultant in Fintech and RewardTech. So a good distinguished background for our Andrew. And we're just waiting for the feeds to come up right now. And here we go, super duper. Oh yes, and I can see people joining up, that's brilliant. So give us a quick wave, Andrew, and a quick hello.
Hi there. Hi, Andrew. Hi, everybody.
Fantastic. Morning. And our theme today is meditation unlocks business intuition, and how meditation unlocks business intuition. Oh, I think that deserves a and the comments are coming through. That's great. So, and our moderator today is Darlington Baloney, brought to you by Marketing CX, our marketing LinkedIn specialists. That's fantastic. Yeah, give us a quick wave. Thank you, Darlington, and a quick hello. Lovely. I'll just take you off mute. There you go, Darlington. So, music for Peter.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. And this is our video. Don't you just love that jingle? It's just brilliant, isn't it? So, I hope you enjoyed the short jingle from Your DMS after the countdown. And we're delighted that we are powered by Your DMS, our Leaders Live sponsor. Yay! We're so delighted about that. And great to have Jack Wright on the show this morning, Sales Director of Your DMS. Welcome, Jack, this morning. And welcome, Joe Cooper and Tilly Davis and Matthias. And yeah, we've got a good crowd on today and still counting upwards. So that's fantastic. Okay, so more about Your DMS as we go through the show, folks, just so you know. And let me just bring on the, so oi people and hi gang, it's Leaders Live time. Leaders Live showtime, folks, and it's just after 8:45 a.m. here in the UK, and we are live with Leaders Live, spreading the love, folks, spreading the love, yabba dabba do. And and if you're new to Leaders Live and you don't know me, as I mentioned in the countdown, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and Leaders Live is an interactive and dynamic weekly talk show that generates business through networking, community, and extraordinary conversations that inspire, just like we're going to have today with Andrew Wilmot, talking about meditation today. And our motto here is I to the power of we, folks. And that is our motto. And we are streaming out on multiple channels simultaneously today, including Your DMS's company page and on my all-new leaderslive.tv website. Wow, that deserves a wow, I think. Teachers love tech. I certainly love tech, as long as it works, of course. And talking about tech, we'd love you to support us as well for all the effort that goes into producing this free show, folks. So to do that, in order to support us, you can buy me a coffee too, folks. And you get a quick shout out on the show. And all you need to do is just dial in buymeacoffee.com /Leaders Live, or even more better, you can use the all new QR code that's on the screen right now and on every page, and that just takes you straight there, folks. It's an awesome little app, and you get this kind of shout out here. Let me just do a quick test for you, and you get that, and your name comes up, and it's really groovy, and we love it. And thanks for the coffee last week, Joe Cooper, my mate Joe Cooper, thank you very much. And so interactive show, folks, back to the show. So please get involved, join in, ask questions, network with the live community as we're going along. Even a little friendly banter for you regulars, lead the way, show how we roll. And thanks for all the comments. I'll come to those in a moment. Smash those likes and those thumbs up too, folks. We really appreciate that. Love that little bell. That's just brilliant. Where's that gone? I can't see it now. There it is. There it is. We'd really appreciate that. So please follow our company page on the LinkedIn and subscribe to Leaders Live YouTube community for updates too. And all those links are now in the chat as Darlington's just put them in. So if you put it all together, what have you got? You've got it. Bibbidi, bibbidi, poppity boo. And you might be singing that song all day now. So let's bring up our guest for today. And this week's Leaders Live Hangout guest, my mate Andrew Wilmot, co-chair, Workplace Wellbeing Association, CTO, and non-executive director and consultant in the Fintech and reward space, and also a wellbeing and transcendental meditation expert. Hey, someone's just bought me a coffee. Thank you very much. Whoever that is, you're a darling and we love you to bits. So thank you for that.
Great to be here, Andrew. Fantastic.
Well done. Brilliant. Thank you. So our theme is how meditation unlocks business intuition today. Ooh. And how are you doing, Andrew? Great to have you on the Leaders Live show.
Yes, I'm by the seaside, a place called Malahide, just outside Dublin.
Just outside Dublin. Groovy. Okay. Thank you. So just a quick hello to a few people. Hello, Joe Cooper from sunny Oxfordshire with a side order of frost. Oh, we haven't got frost. We've still got rain. Good morning from South Africa. That's their summer coming up. Good morning, Mateus from Prague this morning, our resident digital nomad, and Dr. Ian Price, our resident neuroscientist. Good morning, my mate. And Darlington as well. And Maria Jeffers, good morning. And Laurie Hales, the rain has stopped. It's a good morning. Absolutely. Fantastic. So there we go. So let's hear from all of you, please. So we'd love to hear from you. So if you're new to the show, let us know who you are. Say hello to us. That'll be great. So, so Andrew, what have you got for us today? Just give us a headline of where you're taking us, Andrew.
We're going to talk about meditation,
right,
and the role it can play in people's lives, and then we're going to move on to something a little bit more specialist, something quite interesting, which is how you can use intuition in business to improve your decision making, and the role that meditation plays in enabling you to develop that.
Isn't that great? Fantastic. And we've got a couple of exercises today. Now, this is unusual. Doing this on live is quite interesting. Shona Taylor introduced us to this, so I shut exercise for a couple of exercises we've got today. And one of the exercises a little bit later is we'd like to think about an issue, don't we, Andrew, that you have got in your mind right now, folks. It could be a key business issue, it could be a career or a family decision, that you're keen to make a sort of A, B right decision on. So just have a think about that. And we're going to come back to that later on in the show when we do a little exercise with you. So, all this lot to come. So thank you for that outline. You see, that's where we're heading today. So kick us off, Andrew. You've got a question for the audience, haven't you, to get the interaction building? What question have you got for us this morning?
Yes, I just wondered if any of you have tried meditation in the past, and if so, what kind of results have you had from it?
Okay, so have you ever tried meditation, and how did you find doing it, folks? And that will all be in the questions already there in the feed. So you can respond to that now, folks. Use the comments to respond. You know how it goes. And we'll come back in a few minutes to that, just to let the feed build up a little bit. There's a little bit of delay in the feed. We'll come back to you in just a tick as well, Andrew. So during the countdown, I briefly introduced Darlington, our brand new moderator. And let me just unmute Darlington. So Darlington, over to you to say a little bit more, if we can bring you in. Morning, Darlington. Let me just see. Oh, you've muted. Morning. How you doing?
Oh, good. How is everyone doing? I'm back.
Brilliant. So, Darlington is representative of Marketing CX, where he's developing his career. And I'm sure you'll make him feel welcome as he manages all the interactions and comments from us. So he will stop us from keeping our minds wandering off as well on the show, which is a good link to meditation as well, Darlington. So thank you very much. Thank you. So because Leaders Live is an interactive show, so please join into the comments as they're happening right now. Don't be shy. Use the comments for these questions and engage with us during the show. So let's bring back Andrew. And just a quick message as well. So I just want to introduce a brand new service we're offering today, which is called Your DMS Executive Briefing Newsflash. We've not tried this before. We're trialing it today, and next week we're going to do an executive briefing stroke newsflash instead of the get to know you in 5 slots. So we're just trying it out. We always like to try new things. Wow. And in this slot, Andrew's going to share his IT experience with us in this week's brief executive briefing, a brief briefing. And he's going to talk about one of the hottest topics in tech at the moment, which is what is operational resilience. So we'll come to that at the halfway point in the intermission, just where we shout out our fabulous sponsors, Your DMS. So just so you know. So back to the show, folks. And Yeah, Andrew, let's just bring you back on. Let's get you properly in, and let's just give you a quick round of applause. You'll be clearing up that confetti for ages, mate. So feel the love, Andrew. Feel the love. I hope you enjoyed the groovy build-up. So Andrew, you asked the audience a question to get us all engaged. Let's start with this. So Darlington, kick us off. What's going on in the chat right now?
All right. So today we have Dr. Ian. He says, I keep meaning to do it more seriously.
Seriously, Ian? Keep doing it more seriously? Well, okay, brilliant. Yeah, so there's an intention there, but
Yeah,
hasn't quite
and
got
then
to
we
it
have,
yet. Ian and I have had lots of conversations about meditation. So carry on, Darlington.
Yeah, and then we have Joe Cooper says, I've tried meditation, but find it hard to switch my mind off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Which is something that I also struggle with as well.
Yeah.
Trying to switch off my mind is very, very difficult. But then we also have Tilly Davis. He also says, I did, but my mind keeps wandering off.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, morning, Tilly.
The same thing as me as well. It's like, as soon as I try it, my mind just goes the other way. Then we also have May TS. Says like, yes, tried meditation using Headspace, the same app as the Irish rugby team are using.
Oh, yes.
Was interesting the first few times, but then it became too repetitive and my mind starts to flow elsewhere.
Yeah, okay.
Seems like everyone kind of gets distracted whenever they try to meditate.
Yeah, Maria says this, doesn't she, to Darlington? I often sit quietly, shut my eyes and concentrate on my breathing. This slows everything down for me and helps me calm my busy mind. There you go. What say you, Andrew, to that comment?
I mean, generally, the first four comments from Joe, Tilly, and Ian were very similar.
Yeah,
and it's about the mind wandering, and I think what's important here is that there are many different types of meditation, and the one thing that meditations generally have overall is that they are an attempt to enable the mind to settle down within oneself. So it's a process of turning within. So all meditations have that really positive element. But what happens when you do that varies between the meditations. Now, one of the things is that it's the natural tendency of the mind is to wander. You know, you're in a classroom doing an exam. It's really important to you. There's a cleaner in the corridor. They play Bohemian Rhapsody.
and baby.
The attention drifts off to that. So the mind goes where it finds it more charming.
Okay.
In transcendental meditation, we use that tendency by giving it something it finds more charming. And what we do is we give you a sound to think, not to chant, not to repeat, just to have a sound, and we call it a mantra. And when you use that mantra easily and effortlessly, the mind actually finds it more charming. And so what we're doing is we're using that ability of the mind to wander to allow the mind to wander inside. And one of the things is that what we're not trying to do in transcendental meditation is to concentrate. We're not thinking about anything. We're not focusing on anything. And this enables the mind to settle down. As the mind settles down, the body settles down at the same time.
Okay, mind, body.
Because of the link, you know, this principle of yoga, union, mind and body.
Yeah.
If the mind settles down, the body settles down. So as the mind settles down, mental activity is becoming less, and then physical activity becomes less. Okay. And that is the basic core principle of transcendental meditation. And part of the training is, well, what happens if a thought comes or whatever, what happens if sleep comes. But the whole thing is it's completely easy and effortless. And this is one of the issues people have about being regular, is that they feel they're not being successful because they feel that they need to be having that David Carradine kung fu every time. And although Grasshopper may have been told by his master to clear the mind, it's something that virtually everybody can't do, because you can't clear the mind, because we are creative beings. We are productive beings. So we're always having thoughts, and it's those thoughts that make us. It's those thoughts that make us so successful. And so you can't switch that off. But why switch it off? You don't need to. With the right form of meditation, you take that ability to think thoughts, and what you do is, and we'll show you a diagram in a bit that explains how that happens. But what happens is, as you settle down and you rest, you start to dissolve stresses and strains in the nervous system. Now, the role of rest and stress and strain is understood in the context of dreaming and sleep. So in dreaming, you're getting rid of quite strong impressions that you've experienced during the day, and in sleeping, you're getting rid of fatigue. But sometimes that dreaming and sleeping is not enough to dissolve deep-rooted stresses.
Okay.
And that's why people have problems with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
Because the rest they get isn't enough to dissolve those really, really deep stresses. And so what's really important here is that you have a state of deep rest where you're still aware, but because you're still aware, it facilitates this dissolving. And working with other therapists, other clinicians, Transcendental meditation is the most effective tool for post-traumatic stress disorder. And the US government, the Department of Defense, have supported millions of pounds of research into that. And if you get rid of stress and strains, you start to use more of your mental abilities. You start to become more competent, more capable. Within 2 or 3 days of people generally learning to meditate, they come back with quite a holistic benefit, one that maybe they weren't expecting. And that's the benefit of they got more done at work. Now, what does getting more done at work entail? It entails perhaps being a bit more creative, having the ability to solve problems, maybe being able to focus better, sharper, better memory, getting on better with people. And all these things come together to result in getting more done. So what this shows is that practice of meditation is a holistic practice that benefits all of the mind and the body, not just some part of it. And as the stress is thrown off by the body, the body becomes healthier, because stress undermines the immune system. If you're less stressed, your immune system is stronger, and there's scientific research to show the various different blood chemistry that relates to a strengthened immune system improving when people meditate. So if you can make yourself more relaxed, and we kind of know when we're run down, when we're really stressed, when we've got various road crashes have occurred, that's when we get a cold. That's when we get a cough. That's when we get a sore throat. So we know there's a close link between now think about this word psychosomatic. It doesn't mean that it's in your mind. It means that things going on in your nervous system are affecting your immune system.
Brilliant.
And I'm Ian Price. I'm hopefully going to give you lots of stuff to be skeptical about, and I think that's something I think we're probably going to enjoy.
Okay. Andrew, I'll just give you a quick break there for a minute, while we just allow the feed to catch up a little bit. Darlington, what's going on the feed? Because there's a whole load of stuff going on the feed in reaction to what Andrew's just been saying. So let's just catch up with that, give Andrew a quick break.
Yeah, the feedback has been picking up lately. We have Jonas. He says, he was just greeting earlier on.
Morning, Jonas.
But then we also have Matthias.
Matthias
says, did also try Shine for a while, but eventually became the same thing.
Okay.
I think you're referring to a conversation that was happening earlier on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, look, can I pitch in here? The experience of learning from an app is a bit like learning from a book or learning from a mate who isn't a teacher. That you don't get the guidance you need. No. And this isn't unique to transcendental meditation. It's probably unique to all meditations, whether it's Christian meditation, Buddhist, whatever, that you need somebody who's experienced at teaching people to meditate, but also what's really important, that they have a program and a facility to check that you're meditating correctly. So, if you took your car into the garage and say, oh, well, we only teach you how to drive a car, we don't check it's working properly, that's not going to be very useful for you. And then this is the issue that with the growth of mindfulness, overall, that's a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
And it's bringing people who are very secular in their outlook to doing something that's more inner, and that's brilliant. But when the HR department say, oh, we're going to teach you mindfulness next week because Peter's come back from a 2-day training course, that's where it starts to go wrong, because really you need to find a teacher that's had, at least 3 months of residential training of that order in order to give you the right guidance, to have the right, and there needs to be a framework for teaching. So I understand why people are struggling with Headspace.
Yeah.
Now some people would just take to it and they'd be completely happy with it. But on the whole, people get good experiences from Headspace, but then they come along and they want a proper teacher. They want to learn something more structured. Yeah. So I think that, so I was involved in some market research during the lockdown, and we found that overall, looking at the whole population in the UK, over 50% of the population, and this was weighted for class, if I can use that term, and an ethnicity, over 50% of people had done some form of personal development. Yoga was the most popular, but then all the flavors of mindfulness were in there. But it's important to remember that mindfulness is not one technique. It's a basket of techniques. So there are many, many different practices in there. But it means that this practice is very prevalent. So I think going forward, you just need something that enables you to be regular. So one of the things about something that's easy and effortless, you can do it anywhere. You can do it on a train, a plane. You can do it in your dressing room or whatever. So Tom O'Dell, the singer, in his rider, he says, "I have to have a sofa in my changing room," and he sits on there and meditates before he goes out. So a lot of performers and actors, where they travel a lot, they're always in different situations. They need something they can do anywhere, and TM is the most popular technique with the glitterati, because they are very busy and they do a lot of travel.
The glitterati, I love that.
Now, we can all say, look, I had a great meditation last night. I had the sofa out. I had incense. I had a bit of music. I had the fire going. It was perfect. Now, say you have to then meditate on the bus in Shepherd's Bush and you're late for a meeting, can you do that there? So I think the thing is that it's about being able to do it everywhere you happen to be, because it's only when you do that you can be regular. Yeah. So I don't believe that transcendental meditation is better than any other techniques, because I don't teach the other techniques. No. But what my experience is that people are more able to do it regularly. And the body works in rhythms. So we've got these rhythms in the body, and where the body's used to sleeping. And we've got a little chart on this, Andrew, haven't we?
We have.
Where the body and mind work in a cycle of rest, of sleep and dreaming. And we can add to this practice of meditation. And then this dissolves stress. It's self-healing. It's me time. It gets rid of overloads, and then it leads to all those benefits. And so what we're effectively doing here is we're enabling the mind to turn in. But by doing that regularly, you then have the experience of stress reducing over time.
Okay. So, let's just give you a quick break there, Andrew, just for a moment, just so we can gather your thoughts. We're going back to this term within a minute. I'll leave this slide up for a moment. Laurie Hale says this: Darlington Baloney, I am no good at this. I just cannot be still. However, I find reading a good book has many of the same benefits. So that was Laurie. And then Elaine chips in here and says, apparently I'm an active meditator. There you go. And just bring in Darlington. Any other comments, Darlington, from the feed?
Yeah. Earlier on, we had Dr. Ian says, I find it always useful, especially for. And we also have Laurie.
Okay.
No, we also have Maria. Maria was responding to Dr. Ian. She
Okay.
says, me too, I know the benefits, just need
To
to
take
take
more
more
action.
action.
Yeah. And then is it Mark Ferguson
Exactly.
says this
And
here,
then we
Darlington?
also have Mark Ferguson
Yeah.
says, whenever I try to meditate, I end up nodding off. So I set a 20-minute timer to I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I
interesting,
think
isn't it?
we
Then we
covered this
also
in
have
our.
Hang on a minute,
yeah.
Andrew. Go on, carry on with Darlington.
And then we also have Matthias says can definitely relate to the exam aspect and distractions. Feel like Will from the series The In-Betweeners when he's reading for his exam and nothing wants to enter his head as he says so well. Think we can all relate to this somehow.
Yeah. What say
So
you, Andrew?
that was
Thank you.
Matthias.
Yeah, thank you. What say you,
And
Andrew? Hang on a minute, Darlington. What say you, Andrew?
Well, no, I think that generally people are coming up with some really good points here overall, and I think the most important thing is find something you can do regularly, and stick with it. And what might be useful now is that I just want to explain a little bit about how transcendental meditation specifically works. And we've got a little diagram here, and we use an analogy that the mind is like an ocean.
Oh, okay. You want that one, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me just find that for you. There it is. Yeah.
What we have is it's a sort of symbolism of the fact that the mind is like an ocean. You've got on the surface level of thinking, you think active thoughts, but what happens is a thought comes, and that thought doesn't jump into the mind straight away. It kind of develops, and eventually the awareness is conscious of it.
Okay.
So what is actually happening is, if you could just raise the bubbles up to the top there, with the top bubble. Do you want to just get it? So
is that one?
Move backwards. I think you need to be going backwards.
Okay, this is the first one I've got here.
Oh, okay. Then step forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me know which one
you
want.
Forward. Yeah. So effectively, what we have here is we've got the thought develops, and it starts as an impulse, and it becomes concrete. And what we do is we give you a thought to think that doesn't have any meaning, and we call it a mantra. We're not concentrating on it, we're just thinking it. And what happens is, because it hasn't got any meaning, and because we're not concentrating, the mind starts to experience that thought early on in its development. Okay. So if we move on to the next slide, we can see that the awareness settles down, and we experience that thought earlier in its development. The goal of a thought is to be experienced. The goal of the mind is to have experiences. So it's and this is where the mind is finding the thought in its more refined state more charming than the thought in its unrefined state. So it prefers that. And so what happens over a period of time, if we move on the slide, we can then see that the awareness contacts that thought early in its development. The next slide is even earlier. And then eventually the awareness contacts the source of thought. And the source of thought is really a state of pure awareness within us, from where all thoughts come. And I think there's one more slide here, Andrew. Yeah. So and so that's the process of transcending, of going beyond one level of thinking to another. And this is how the mind settles down. And then what will happen is thoughts will come, and we handle those easily. Sleep comes, we handle that easy, and nothing needs to involve effort. But the most important thing here is the ability to do this regularly. And if you have this 15 to 20 minutes in the morning, 15 to 20 minutes in the evening, it gives you the maximum benefit. You don't have to do more than this. You don't get more benefit by doing it more. The meditation first thing in the morning gets the body at its most rested state, so that the rest is dealing with stress that has been accumulated since you were a baby in your mother's womb.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, it catches up the stress you picked up in the day. So if you do any one of those, you're maybe handling the symptoms of stress well, but you're not necessarily experiencing the accumulative benefits. Now, if it can't be 20, it can be 10. If you were a nursing mum, 20 minutes twice a day is just imaginary. You've just got to do what you can do. But the way it works is that there's 4 sessions. The first one has to be face to face. The others can be face to face or on an app. You come back after 10 days, after a month, after a quarter. So, but what I generally ask my students is, will you make the commitment to do this every day, twice a day for 8 weeks? Because if they do, everybody gets benefits. Now, what some people tend to do is they get blown off course, they don't do it regularly, therefore they don't get the benefits. Okay. So that kind of, that's a good, I think, a good summary. I don't know whether we...
that's a great summary, actually.
Yeah, so what I thought we should do is move on to our exercise.
Yeah, and just before we do that, let me just, I've just lost Darlington, just let me bring him back in again. There we go. Just before we do that, so you said, so the benefits, you'll notice benefits really quickly in a few days if you just meditate twice a day for, say, 10, 15, 20 minutes, twice a day. Yeah.
Yes.
After a few weeks, after 2 weeks, you start to notice a little bit more, but after 8 weeks, it really consolidates. Is that what you said, Andrew?
After 8 weeks, I've never had anybody not have any benefits.
Not so right.
It's just an anecdotal thing.
Yeah.
Because, but most, as you say, within 3 days will notice they're getting more done, and all sorts of interesting thing happens. I had a guy who had to learn right that weekend because he was basically in a relationship that wasn't working, was falling apart. He was completely traumatized. He had to learn this weekend, and I asked him 2 days into the meditation when he was going out the door, look, how are things at home? He says, well, it's actually remarkable. My wife's really changed her attitude to me. And I sort of looked at him, and then the penny dropped, that somehow he was feeling better, and he saw that his wife was behaving better. So obviously, if you get rid of that stress, your behavior changes.
Exactly.
And so what can happen is if one person learns to meditate in a house, everybody benefits. And if a few families in a village, meditate, it can affect the village, because you don't need much of a change to make an effect. And this is what a lot of people experience. And a few interesting things. I taught somebody in the RAF, and she was a very aggressive lady,
right,
but very experienced, very competent, very capable. But she wasn't a senior officer. And she said one of the effects she had when she learned to meditate is when people came into the room and she was with other officers, they thought she was the most senior one because she came across with authority, but she had that relaxed confidence that natural leaders have. So another interesting story is that a guy, he read a book on TM and golf, and it's called The Inner Game. And
I've read it.
It's about using, it's effectively using a form of intuition to improve the game of golf. And I said, did it improve it for you? And he said, no. But it's helped me with my golf rage, because he would be down to throwing the club around. And the other thing is, oh, by the way, the insomnia I had for 20 years has stopped.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
So things come that you're not kind of really expecting. Have we got time for one more story?
Yeah, we have. And just before you get onto that story, folks, this is a really good time for us maybe to commit to doing this ourselves. Maybe as a community, we commit to having a go at this for 8 weeks. And Andrew will show us a little technique how to do that. But over to you for a final story before we go into an exercise.
I taught somebody to meditate, very quiet. He was a music teacher in a nearby town. And I didn't see him for 3 months, and he came back and he said, look, you've completely changed my life. Wow. And I said, well, what happened? And they said, well, as soon as I started meditating, I started sleeping. And he said, I haven't been able, since I became a musician and I was in a band, I haven't been able to sleep properly. I only slept a few hours. So I was really down. I was depressed. I was really fed up. I was just teaching a few people guitar. But then once he started feeling better, he was asked to do some local festivals. And he met some horn players at one of the festivals. And they said, would you rearrange some horn music for us and everything? And he did. And then he was asked, and they recommended him for arranging some music when they were in Abbey Road Studios, and the music producer said he needs somebody to arrange some music, and they brought him in. And so he ended up having been a guitar teacher in Buckinghamshire countryside to going into Abbey Road to arrange music. And at the end of the interview with the producer, he said, well, who's the artist? And he said, oh, well, it's Eric Clapton. And so this one step of learning to meditate resulted in all these consequences. And he ended up with a 3-year contract to write music for a film. So
amazing. Beautiful.
So really, I think the trick here is that it's holistic. Get rid of the stress. Then you start to use more of your ability. Your behavior is more effective, and that's why you start to get more done at work.
Isn't that amazing? So it resolves the stress, which then allows more bandwidth for the brain to get on with what it really wants to get on with.
And you don't have to worry. You're not trying to be mindful. You're not trying to do this. You're not trying to do that. You just sit in the chair, just upright, twice a day. You don't worry about a thing. You don't have to think of, was I mindful in that moment? It is that you'll be present when you need to be present. And it's just what tends to happen is luck tends to come more your way when you feel rested.
Because that creative intelligence is at work. And Maria just says this.
And everything is, you always miss that bus when you're really stressed. You never miss it when you're relaxed.
Brilliant.
So,
Brilliant.
And we're going to move on to that now after our next session.
And Maria just says this, my partner used to have golf rage. There you go. And then she also said to my challenge to you all is, I love this. I'm going to start doing this every day. Yeah, I think that's right. I meditate twice a day. From Andrew's instructions, really helped me to resolve stress and to access my creative intelligence. So you're going to do a little exercise for us, Andrew. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Go for it.
I went to a place in Aix-en-Provence, and it's called Saint-Baume, and it's a big mountain. And at the top of that, there's a grotto, and it's reputed that the Mary Magdalene spent the last years of her life there. And kings, queens, popes have been up this road, up to this mountain. It's quite a long trek, quite a arduous trek. And I got the inspiration for this technique when I was there.
Wow.
And it's called Divine Feelings. Now, some of you that may be more less spiritual orientated, you're happy to experience divine chocolate. So why don't you experience some divine silence? So what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes. Now, I don't know whether anybody's driving, in which case we can't do this one. And if you can pull over, then that would be great. But what we're going to do is it's going to be a guided meditation. And we're going to demonstrate to us the connection between body and mind. We're going to start off with effectively something that you may have done before, which is a body scanning technique. And then we're going to move on to a visualization. Just to show how subtly we can change how we feel in our mind and our body. So let's close our eyes, sit quietly, just sit quietly, not thinking anything, not trying to exclude anything. And just be aware of any sensation you might have in the body. Is there a feeling you have? Is there a mood that you have? Is there any kind of mood that you're experiencing? And is it associated with any part of the body? You might be feeling relaxed. You might be feeling happy. You might be feeling you want to giggle. Let the awareness be with that. But you might feel some tension. You might feel some back tension, something in your neck, something in your chest, something in your solar plexus. Let your awareness be with that. So by awareness, let your when you focus on something with your mind, you picture what you're focusing on. So in the same way, if you're experiencing and you're looking inward into your body, just picture your body. If you struggle with letting your awareness be with the body, so either imagine your mind is with the body or allow your mind to be with the body. Now, is there anything happening in your head? Do you feel anything in your face, in the back of your head? Anything in your chest, in your lower back, in your upper arms, lower arms, your fingers? Anything in your lower stomach, lower back? Let your awareness be with the lower back. Let your awareness be with the upper limbs, with the lower limbs. Is anything happening? Do you feel anything? Let your awareness be with it. Just be aware of it. Don't try and do anything with it. Just let your awareness experience that activity that might be going on, that feeling. Are you feeling any emotion? Does that emotion, is it connecting with any part of the body? Now let's focus on the whole body and let our awareness be there. And we'll just rest now for 1 minute with the awareness in silence, focusing on the whole body. Don't worry what's going on in it. Just let your awareness be with the whole body. Now, are you aware of anything that you could describe as being divine? So the divine can be anything like feeling relaxed, feeling happy, feeling you want to giggle, feeling you want to laugh. It might be just a glow inside. It might be a sound. It might be light. You might be aware of anything like that. It might be very subtle. It might just be in one part of the body. Just somewhere you might feel a little bit more relaxation than another part. You might feel a little bit of light somewhere. A little bit of bliss. So bliss, just happiness, just vague happiness somewhere in the body. Now just be aware of that. If you're not aware of anything that you could describe as divine in any way, just let the awareness be with wherever it wants to be. And is it light? Is it a sound? Is it a feeling of comfort, warmth? Is it a glow? Where is it in the body? Is it a glow in the heart, in the solar plexus, in the throat, in the head? Let your awareness be with that divine feeling, whatever it happens to be. Just be aware of it. Let's just sit quietly and let the awareness. And if a thought comes, don't resist that. Just gently bring your awareness back to that feeling, wherever you feel it. Now, whatever that feeling is, feel it moving to adjacent parts of your body. Feel it going a little bit wider, going across your body, feeling it going up higher, further up your body. Visualize your body and see it moving down in your body so that all of your body is full of whatever that divine feeling was that you first felt. Just imagine it. Just have a feeling that it's there across the whole body, and then be aware of it now filling the whole body.
Beautiful.
Imagine that feeling now being shared with your friends. your family, your loved ones, your closest ones. Visualize them. Feel that feeling being experienced by them. Your workplace, feel it filling the workplace. Your home, your village. Imagine your town, your county, filling the whole of the country. Feel that feeling filling the world, the whole world. You feel that feeling in the whole world. You feel it in the whole solar system. That feeling is filling the whole solar system. Now it's filling the universe. Whatever that feeling was, it's now filling the whole universe. Let's be aware of that for a moment. And then come back and feel that in your body, the whole body. So open the eyes. So we were showing there how mind and body are connected, and how well-being can be developed in the body, and how you can get your body working at a higher vibrational level by focusing on things that are positive and bringing that influence into other parts of your body, your mind, and your family. How did we feel then? It'd be great to get some feedback of, at the end, when we finished off, coming back to the body at the end. How did you feel? What was your experience?
Yeah, pop those in the comments for us and we'll pick those up as we're going along. So thank you for that. And yeah, this is a brave step, folks. We've doing this live is an interesting experience, very powerful, actually. It's amazing how, even on a live, we can make this work. So it'd be really interesting to hear your feedback, folks. So please pop some stuff in the comments field so that we can pick that up. And there's a little bit of a delay in the feed, but we've got some coming through already. So we've got Maria saying warm, saw light. Absolutely. Yeah, I was, that bliss flow for me really well. Maria says again, I enjoyed that. Let's just bring, yeah. So thank you for that. And we'll pick up other comments as they come along. Just while we're waiting for those. Oh, and here's a bit more. Let me just bring our Darlington back in. Darlington, what's going on in the feed? You pick those up for us.
All right. So earlier on, Matthew says, brilliantly said, Andrew, you can't learn it all properly by reading book. You must also learn by doing, trying, failing, and eventually master the skill.
Yeah.
This is very nice.
Thank you.
And then also Maria, she says, very beneficial to sports people too, helps people to visualize.
Yeah.
Then we also have Dr. Ian says, thought as an imagined process, as a thought bubble in the sea. Love this picture.
Oh yeah, that's in response to earlier on. What about the more recent stuff, Darlington? Pick up the more recent stuff for us.
We also have, all right, one more from recently. This is from Dr. Ian as well. I think it was in response to what we're just doing now. We're saying it was doing great. I was doing great until the dog barked at the post delivery, but definitely felt more tuned in.
Yeah.
This is fun.
One of the skills is to just incorporate that, isn't it? So yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Nature says felt very positive as the exercise progressed. Yeah, me too. And then we also have Joe Cooper says, wow, I had the light in my head, felt floating. Actually, this is very true. I also
you also felt that,
felt
did you?
very floaty too as well at some point.
Yeah.
Then we have Maria. She says, I have pockets of discomfort and areas of my body that feel well. Was lovely to spread the good feeling around my body.
Yeah.
Then we also have David says,
Ian, David Brandon.
Yes, the interruption for me was the sound of my colleague photographing me in the midst of my long blink.
Long blink, love that. Brilliant. Great to see you, Dr. David Bramwell. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's it, isn't it? Okay. What say you, Andrew? And then we'll move on to the intermission.
Yeah, I think we're ready for the intermission.
Sure. Okay. Let me just do that very quickly then. So we're just going to take a quick break for now, a quick intermission slot, folks, where we just shout out your DMS in this new executive briefing. And here's a little video to accompany that. 1 second. Brilliant. So thanks for sorry, there's a bit of noise there in the background. Thanks for Sadie Newman for putting that together for Your DMS. A bit about our sponsors, Your DMS. They are specialist folks in document management solutions with over 20 years of experience in the document management DM industry. And at Your DMS, they say our knowledge and ability to translate and deliver technology to simplify the way organizations work has been proven time and time again. Fantastic. And as we make them more effective, says Jack, sales director of Your DMS, we can also save them money and enhance their engagement with their customers and suppliers. I love that. So there we go. Shout out to Your DMS. And in this slot, we ask our Hangout guest, in this case, aka Andrew Wilmot, to briefly share with us a short executive briefing or news flash on a hot topic in business at the moment. And Andrew has an expertise in the world of IT, and he's going to share something on operational resilience today. So over to you, Andrew. Let me just bring you up into the guest scene. There we go. Over to you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
Share your
Brilliant.
pearl of wisdom to us.
So it's one of the latest challenges in the large system space, and it particularly affects financial services organizations. So that's banks and building societies and insurance companies. And it's around making organizations more able to build for the future so that they can identify threats to their IT and business infrastructure and be able to respond to threats, recover, and most important, learn from their experiences by building a directory of risks that they're exposed to and making sure they're putting in place the right controls to address that.
Okay.
And it kind of came out of the Basel group of countries, G7, G20, and it's now being advocated by the financial regulators across Europe. Okay. And it's about looking at the end-to-end experience for a customer and seeing if something failed, could it cause that customer any harm? So really looking at people who are vulnerable or need access to finance, will this impact them? So what it is, it's a way of looking at things on a root and branch basis, end to end, thinking about your people, your processes, your buildings, your systems. And when you hear about, the Terminal 5, the baggage system going down for 3 days at a time.
Good example.
Or,
the pandemic.
The banking system, or the pandemic, and the impact that the pandemic had, and the way the pandemic's been used as an excuse for underperformance, whereas businesses should plan for what happens if we have a pandemic.
Okay.
And what are we going to do about it? So operational resilience, something to keep your eye on.
Great, thank you. And is that a specialist of yours, Andrew? Is that something that you offer as a portfolio CTO?
Yeah, and it's a big initiative. It's the year 2000 experience of the moment.
Brilliant. Okay, so thank you. So if that sparks an interest in you folks, then please contact Andrew for further details, and I'm sure he'll happily help you. So thank you for that quick executive briefing on the importance of operational resilience. And that's not just the pandemic, is it? And it could be anything, couldn't it?
Most likely cyber. So it's most likely denial of service attacks.
Okay, so we had that the other day, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah,
that will bring businesses down. Ransomware.
Okay.
Where people are infecting your data and encrypting it, and you have to pay a ransom to get it back. So it's preparing for all of these. But I think the pandemic showed that it's losing people, that has the biggest effect on businesses.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking out the box a little bit. We've got my mate David Brambell in the room today. Now, he has been using his operational resilience to get people out of the Ukraine during the early part of the war. And I'm not sure if he's still there or not, but that's another part of operational resilience. What happens when there's a war in a place where we're doing business? Would that qualify, Andrew?
Yeah, it would do. And I think a number of companies have been caught out by this, by only having their outsourcing in one country.
Indeed.
So what we I'm working with a company whose initials are after my name there, and we've picked up quite a lot of business because of having people in Belarus and Ukraine and Russia, and having to get out very quickly. So I think the lesson is have a diversified workforce and don't put everybody in one place.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And David just follows up with this, says, love the approach of looking at our business by thinking about the customer experience. So often businesses, i.e. us, think about our experience. And so we create business that work well for themselves rather than those that work well for the customers.
So I think this is really what the financial regulators are pushing, the concept of customer duty, and it being paramount, and it being evidence in the cultures of financial services organizations. And you have to show that you are generally being customer centric in your approach. You need to show how you're doing that and how you're measuring it and who's responsible for it.
Great. Well, thank you very much. So there's our very first executive briefing. Let us know how we did, folks, and we'd love to know your feedback too. So that's a wrap on that, and we're back to the show again now, folks. So I hope you've all found that a useful sidebar interlude, people, and back to the show flow again. And back to meditation with Andrew. So
personal growth. Andrew, we're going to talk about personal growth now,
and also how meditation unlocks business intuition. So let me find that out for you. Just bear with me, and here it is there. And you wanted something on personal growth, didn't you? Let me find that slide for you. There it is. Right
there it is. That's yes. So really, the benefits that can come through meditation, we talk about being fairly holistic. And we've got these other things about maximizing opportunities, creativity, calmness in a crisis, learning from mistakes, making friends and retaining loyalty. But at the top there, leveraging your intuition to make better decisions. So I'd like to say something a little bit about my personal experience about intuition.
Please.
I discovered it age 18 when I was a schoolboy. And I was at Cambridge High School for boys. And it was around the time that they were selecting the Cambridge under-19s rugby team. And all my peer group were really good rugby players. And the street credibility and the peer recognition that came for playing in the county schoolboys side, was absolutely a big pressure item. And so I went to the trial, and it's not a very... it's got a different significance now, but the position I played was hooker.
Oh yeah.
And for those of you that don't understand rugby, it's the person in the middle of the scrum with a prop either side, with two rows behind you, and you interlock with the scrum in front. And the idea is that there's a scrum half who puts the ball in, and there's some rules around this. And the idea of the hooker is he hooks the ball. Now, when we wandered onto the pitch, our sports coach, and they're always Welsh, I said, is this about playing a good all-round game, or is it about hooking the ball? And he says, it's about hooking the ball. So I kind of resolved that, okay, I'm going to do the best possible job I could do here. And my sister had learned Transcendental meditation. I didn't know what she did or how she did it, but I knew she sat down and she closed her eyes. And I thought, could this give me the awareness to know how to do this? So now the trick about the ball going in is you throw the ball in. If the hooker raises their foot too early, it's called foot up, and you have a penalty awarded against you. If you're too slow bringing your leg up to hook the ball, the other side have got it. And also the opposition scrum half dummies the ball. So they pretend they're putting it in 2 times and then put it in the 3rd time. And they have a little signal they send to their hooker with maybe 3 fingers saying it's going to go in on the 3rd ball. So, but you can't see that. You don't know what they're doing. So you've got no way of anticipating when is it going to go in. So resting my arms on the props, I completely relaxed and let them take all of my weight. And I focused inside, and I was just aware of being in myself and relaxed in myself. And then when the ball came in, I felt a warm pulse in my heart. And that's when I lifted my leg. And every time I got the ball, and and so I was selected. I was in the team and playing against Essex. We won every single scrum. And it was just having that impulse come when the ball was coming in. Now, I knew nothing about spirituality. I had no concept of anything like this. But in my determination to get that place in that team, I was prepared to do anything. And I stumbled across this.
Wow.
And so I'm going to explain that what I experienced is the process of intuition. And I'd like to explain a little bit about how it works.
Please, yeah.
Intuition is about the ability to make the right decisions, that you have an opportunity that's presented to you and you use your intuition to make the best of it. And we are using our intuition all the time. Everybody is intuitive, but they are less and less aware of it.
Okay.
It's a bit like being creative. All of us have great thoughts, but not all of us realize the importance of those thoughts.
Gotcha.
And that's what makes the creative person. It's not the ideas, it's the putting the ideas into practice. Now, in the same way with creativity, you need experience and some competence as well. So if you're David Lynch, the filmmaker, you're creative, but also you know about camera angles and you know what's worked in the past and what hasn't worked. It's the same with intuition. Is you've got your own experience, you've got your own background, you understand things. But sometimes when we're making a decision, we don't have the full facts, and particularly when you're selecting, you're hiring somebody, because there's a lot about that person that they may be good at interviewing, they may have a good background, but there may be something about them that is not going to be successful with you.
Yeah.
And it's really important that you use your intuition to use that. And now, interesting, Andrew, gut feel is a different process. And I'll come on and explain that.
Perfect.
Now, intuition is a considered view that you take.
Yeah.
Now, it can come spontaneously. So there's 2 kinds of intuition, and I'll just use my own terminology here. There's inspirational intuition, where something has come because you're focusing on it. It came as an idea, a thought, an image, or a picture, and it can also come spontaneously. And there's the other type of intuition is objective, where you're looking for the answer to a binary question. Yeah. Should I hire this person, yes or no? Now, I'll come and talk about that A and B decision. Is an idea about an inspirational intuition is, for those of you that live in the home counties, you'll experience this almost every day. Is you come out of your house, you get in your car, and you go, which way am I going to go around the M25? And am I going to go cross country, or am I going to hit the road? And what you do is you get an immediate idea. If you go with that immediate idea before you've used your intellect, it's likely to be a much more successful day. Because the first idea you have, when you pose yourself internally a question, the first answer that comes is the most intuitive one. Yeah. Now, if you intellectualize about it, about the road works and this is happening and it's September and everything, you're not aware of the full facts, the circumstances. Whereas your intuition is connected to everything. Now, in that bubble diagram, we saw how the mind settles down and it contacts the inner reservoir of creativity, intelligence within yourself.
Yeah.
and it's a field of pure consciousness, it is the same pure consciousness that everybody else is experiencing. So you may have heard this term morphic resonance, and it's the phenomenon where blackbirds started pecking the tops off gold gold milk bottles.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Within 2 days, it was spread all around the country, and they couldn't possibly have done it through any kind of other communication. It's because animals are very intuitive and they are connected, and those things move very, very quickly. So the inspirational comes spontaneously, and one of the things that you should consider doing is paying more attention to these thoughts that come. They may seem quite random. They may be images, they may be understandings. But if your mind is more settled, if you've got less stress, if you've got less dominant thoughts, you're more likely to spot them. And with the objective process, you use your intuition to make a decision between A and B. Now, intuition will help you make the right choice, and your intellect will help you make the wrong choice. Because your intellect is not in possession of the full facts.
Yeah.
So quite popular at the moment, there are these little tiles you put in your luggage.
Oh, yeah.
And
air tags.
They travel, all around the world and everything. And wherever they are, there's other tags, other phones, other Bluetooth devices that know that they're there.
Yeah,
so that your luggage could be in Glasgow, and a network of Bluetooth devices has detected that it is there. It's the same thing about intuition, is that when we turn within, we're connecting with a universal link with other people.
Lovely.
And therefore we've got the ability to understand things that we don't know. So the M25 might have a tanker that's overturned. We don't know that, but it's something that is there in awareness.
Brilliant.
And so the inspirational process is working generally using this connection with consciousness.
I love the way you've explained that.
And the clarity that we have when we dive within and we contact our inner selves, that is a process of connecting with consciousness. And that brings out the spontaneous intuition. The objective intuition, and I don't know how our neuroscientists are going to take this, it works on the principle of universal love. So
yeah, we've only got a few minutes, Andrew, just to let you know. So just to position that for you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So,
carry on.
So there's two kinds of love: romantic and universal. But the universal is the one that is devoid of the romance, and it's about the dawn on Mount Haleakala on Hawaii. Wonderful. Or a picture, or your first trip to the opera, or
surfing that wave.
Or whatever, that experience of, and in your heart you feel a kind of very pure sense of love. That intuition, the objective intuition, comes from the connection you have with all the other universal love, because the universal love you experience is the same that everybody else has experienced, and it's another form of connection. So what you do is, when you're connected and you're aware of how you feel in your heart, you frame in your mind option A, option B. If you've got something like, should I buy this house, yes or no? It's such a big decision that your intellect gets in the way and interferes with that decision. So you break it down, an important decision, down into, say, 5 questions, which are not the primary question. And also, if you're going to hire somebody, don't say, do we hire him, yes or no? Say, what will it feel like if he joins us, or if he doesn't join? How will it feel like in the company? How will he feel?
He or she,
How successful will we be with them, without them? And ask, him or her, ask a range of questions which are together, collectively, going to give you the answer.
Brilliant.
And
Thank you.
So we're going to do an exercise now.
We haven't got time, Andrew, I'm afraid. We've run out of time. However, what we could do, you and I, we could record this later and pop it onto the feed, if you like, if you were willing.
Well, it's another topic. So just bear that in mind. When you're settled, when you're quiet, play these things in your mind and go through 4 or 5 questions about each decision and see how you feel inside. If you feel warm, it's the right question. If you feel cold or clinical or you have no. But if you feel no reaction, either way, then it's probably that now neither of those decisions are the right one.
Gotcha. So it could be A or B or none.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you. Andrew, thank you for enlightening us. I love that bit about intuition and connecting to the kind of universal principles. I just found that really enlightening. And, actually, this is connected to nature and not hippie voodoo, folks. This is real stuff. Really love that. Thanks for enlightening us today, Andrew, with this extraordinary conversation. We loved having you on the show, my friend. Now, this show will be on podcast too, people. Just give us 24 hours or so to get that all sorted out. Please join our LinkedIn Leaders Live group and the conversation. You can keep the conversation moving over there as well. Thanks for all the comments this morning as well. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Darlington will put the feed back into the links back into the feed for us. Before I get on to what's on next week, a quick reminder that Leaders Live is a free show for all leaders, directors, managers, entrepreneurs who are interested in business growth, edutainment, and enjoy taking part in and interacting in these extraordinary conversations. And together, this community, we aim to make the world better, folks. And we aim to bring a spirit of freedom, of joy, of fun through the feel-good factor in our working lives. And that's certainly what we learned today through meditation. And a quick shout out for what I do, if you want to know what I'm doing commercially. So my commercial offerings are, I run a team leadership and development consultancy called PDX. And please contact me if you need any help with your business to develop effective leadership, sales, operations teams, so you can help your people operate at their very best and run a successful and profitable business for you and with you. And I do this through a specialist set of development programs like high-performance teamwork, team executive coaching, NLP for business diplomas, etc., and leadership development programs. So that's a little bit about me. And the Goosh for next week, folks, let me just bring on the Goosh for next week. Where are we? Next week at 8:45 UK time, we'll be hanging out with my mate, MD of Astute Law, the Shearer, Paul Pataya, and Tosh for short. Everyone knows him as Tosh, and he's a great mate of mine. And our theme is effective conversations, folks. How to get more out of what you want more of the time. And so that's coming up. So this and a whole lot more. We can't wait. Be there or be square. So we're going to wrap up to this scene, folks. So we hope you've enjoyed today's show. It's been great to hang out with you. I'll just turn the volume down a little bit. Great to hang out with you today with all you guys online. And thanks so much for being part of this fantastic show and creating such a great community vibe. And we can't do this without you, folks. So thank you again very much. The podcast will be out shortly. And in the meantime, that's a wrap, folks, from our Hangout guest, Andrew, from Darlington, our moderator, and from our sponsors, Your DMS. Have a great week ahead. And, see you all next week, folks. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.